Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It is Binky here today with a new fragrance from Zoologist. Yes, every time I catch up, another one's released. I know, I'm so towards the end of my project and it's like, guess what, you're not, because there's another one. And I know Orchid Mantis is coming out in May sometime from my understanding, and may get pushed to June, but who knows. But this one was a surprise and it is called Om. Now, this one came out on April 1st and only had 140 units, which each person could buy up to two if they wanted. So at first people thought this was an April Fool's prank. It was not, and madness ensued. And it kind of did, because a lot of people, of course, bought two, and then you can see it on eBay and other amazing places for up to $5,000 for a full bottle. So to make a long story short, basically I went on boards and was reading things online as I do, and a lot of people were kind of upset because people want to be able to access the same thing everyone else does, you know. A lot of people weren't happy about it, that they weren't able to get it and it sold out. And other people are like, hey, you know, it's fine, you know, I have no problem with it. But a lot of them, as other people pointed out, had gotten a bottle, so of course they weren't upset about it. But as far as for me personally, I'm not really into the whole Carpe Diem FOMO thing when it comes to buying things. It's just not going to reel me in. It's not something I like. I think it should be accessible to everyone, but unless it's special edition. Like if it's a special edition specifically for the fans or hardcore collectors, like I know they do that with colored bottles and things like that, I don't care. They tell you in advance it's coming. Once it's sold out, it's done. That doesn't bug me at all. But I think when you have a drop like this, it could be kind of polarizing. As for me, I can honestly say I wasn't that upset with it. I wasn't going to blind buy something for $170, $75 that I don't know what it smells like. There you go. Just my thoughts on it. I think it could be very polarizing. It's up to the brands to make that individual decision, but I think it could really upset certain people. But why I bring this up was just the history. Zoologist released the travel size very soon afterwards, so it's still on the website. You can still pick it up. I think it's $48. There you go. And of course, I was interested enough to pay $48 for sure. And I'm curious because I've never seen the travel size bottles, so I have not smelled it. I have not even opened it. So there you go. It all worked out. Now, Om will be available in 2026. So you can go pick it up there if you want a full bottle, and samples should be coming up as well. Okay, so here's the travel size, and this is what it looks like. There you go. See this little guy? He's got no eyes. And from my understanding, these, I know what they are, but I don't know a lot about them. But they're little cave dwellers, I think. They're basically blind. They don't see light. They hide in dark, like cavernous places. There's no light. They don't need eyeballs, so they don't have them. This is what this little guy looks like. And what I like about this is that he's wearing a little scarf, because it must get cold down there. His body is probably used to it, but you know, you can always be winter ready. Or if you're in a cave, it's the same temperature pretty much all year round. So there you go. Web store exclusive, only 140 bottles available for 2025. That was the original thing right there, but you can get this. So, over millions of years, persistent rainwater gnaws a porous limestone, carving out karst deep within the earth. So this is going to be like, I think what originally bat was kind of supposed to be, because bat has changed formulas. This is what this kind of reminds me of. I have not smelled the original, but I do have it in this apartment, and we'll get to that eventually. So close your eyes and follow Zoologist Om into a cavern of sensory delight. Aroma chemicals float in mineral water. Okay. Dewy limestone. Oh wow. Algae, amber. So this is going to be really interesting. It actually does not have a lot of notes. No. And actually they don't really list the notes in like heart notes, base notes. It's just notes, period. Water cave accord, limestones, iodine, algae, soft amber, sandalwood. Oh, there you go. Amber and sandalwood. Oily musks, cashmeran, iso e super. Wow. So this is made in Canada and will be shipped from Canada. This one specifically because you can't get it anywhere else. So there you go. So this, I think, is going to be one of the more difficult ones to wear. Or maybe I'm wrong. This seems very strange in a fantastic way. And that's what I love about Zoologist, is that they don't always play it safe. So here you go. Yep, you can smell something already. Musk and amber. I get that musk amber sweetness. But let's see. Ooh, that sprayed a lot better than the sample ones. So what's interesting is this is the shirt I wore when I was assaulted by a sloth. And I mean, via my nose. That was just interesting. Okay. Okay. Ooh. So this is a lot more wearable than I would assume. This is so much more wearable than I think people are even going to be aware of. I'm getting almost a piney scent from it, which I know there's no pine in it. But I'm almost getting a pine scent from it. And I think, I don't know what that is from. It's almost like pine. I think it's supposed to be the limestone and the cave accord, but they're coming together for almost a pine scent. There's definitely an aquatic note to it. Aquatic. And pine. At least on my nose. Now understand your chemistry is going to play differently, and of course our noses are all built differently. So know that. But this one's really smooth. Wow. Yeah, this one's actually very smooth, which I didn't expect. It's not jarring at all for me. I really expected this to be really unwearable, but I do get that cavernous kind of feel to it. I do. It's almost like you touch the walls and you just get, ugh. If you've been in a cave, you know what I'm talking about. And you're like, ugh. It's that wetness of the earth. This is a very earthy scent, but that being said, it's very, there's a water accord to it. It's very aquatic, earthy. I'm just getting that pine tree smell, and I don't know why. Maybe it'll air out a little bit. Let's try it on the actual sleeve. On the sleeve, I almost get like almost a black licorice scent to it, which is really strange because it's not there. So my nose is playing tricks on me. I think it's the algae. It's the algae mixed with the limestone on cloth is coming through like black licorice. Some will say that's the only licorice. There you go. But I think it's the algae accord mixed with the sandalwood and amber, because I am getting a sweetness from this more on here than on my arm. Wow. So strange. I'm getting more of the algae now. The algae is coming through. I'm getting the algae and sandalwood. So the fur is now gone. The fir tree is now gone. I think it was just the initial blast was a lot of scents basically mingling together into the air and going, hi. And this, I get the algae, I get the sandalwood, I get the limestone. I do get that earthy limestone from it with the aquatic note. But now even moving around, it's this very earthy cave scent. I do get it. Because of course when you're smelling it up close, you're going to be getting more of the notes. But when you're just moving around and just letting it be, it really comes together. It is. It's like aquatic notes in a cave. I do get it. It's that limestone. It's that earthiness. It's that dampness. But it never goes anywhere really. I can see how people would think they'd be afraid it would be difficult. I don't find it to be difficult. I actually think this is very wearable. That being said, it's very artistic. I don't think I've smelled anything quite like this before. But again, I'm getting that spiciness. While I'm moving around, I'm getting that spiciness, and I don't know what it is. It does remind me of a fir tree. It really does. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's... Sandalwood isn't normally this sharp, but I'm wondering if the sandalwood is mixing with the other things, with the iodine, the algae, and creating this note that my nose just knows. It's very interesting. But for the most part, it's just this light algae, aquatic cave smell, or dirt, earthy smell, with a little bit of sweetness. And I think that's the amber. The amber does come through a little bit with the sandalwood to make it a little bit more wearable. So it does have a good blast. It has a nice blast. But what I like about it is that even with the blast zone being pretty decent, it's not a scent like T-Rex, which, that's a lot. Like, it is a blast zone, but it's such, I almost said a violent scent. It's not, but it's a grab you scent. It's a lot. This is not that. Even though it's very strong, in my opinion, it's very light. I almost get an oiliness from it. That's weird. Like almost an oily scent in my nose. I love what's happening here. So what I'm going to do is come back in an hour, and we'll see where it's at, because I think these notes will settle a little bit better, and I'm curious to see what happens, because every time I think I have this one figured out, I don't. And I feel like I have oil in my mouth now. That is so strange. We'll be back in an hour. Okay, so it has been about an hour, and Olm is still with me. It is projecting pretty decently. It never really leaves this bubble, but it never did even from the initial blast. It just always stays in here, and it's just kind of unassuming and easy to wear, in my opinion. Now, I say easy. I really think this is going to be a scent that is going to confuse a lot of people, but let's see where it's at right now. It's so strange. On my body chemistry, I'm getting a spiciness, a spicy greenery to it. Yeah. So I never fully get that deep, dark, damp cave because of that spicy greenery, and I don't know what it is. It's gone really spicy on my chemistry. Very spicy. That's so strange. It's just like a spicy tree, which I don't think it was going for that, but on mine it smells like that. It's very interesting. Chemistry is always strange. So that's why I always say get a sample, because what happens to my skin chemistry may not on yours. But let's try it on the fabric. So interesting. On my sleeve, I get the sandalwood coming through and that spiciness. So it's the spicy sandalwood with a bit of aquatic. That is so strange. This is why I'm confused by this one, because I just feel like notes are missing from here. I'm getting that sandalwood and the amber. I think also is the amber is adding that sweetness to it. I'm getting that through there, and the sandalwood. And I'm wondering if the limestone is just mixing with something else to create that woodsy scent. Spicy woodsy scent. I definitely get the algae. I still have that algae note, but whatever is mixing with it is changing it a bit, and I don't quite know what it is, but it's very wearable. What I will say is there is this kind of oiliness to it though, which is just strange. I feel like they're capturing that here, that oiliness. Now, I don't know if this creature is oily. I would imagine probably not. It's in water all day. But kind of, and it's not oily when you're in a cave, but when you touch it, and it's just that dampness, but this is more oily. And I don't know how they capture it. It's absolutely fascinating. But that algae, the pininess, that spicy tree of some sort. with the earthiness. It's almost like concrete or cement. So it's strange. Yeah, it's almost like that concrete, and then there's this spicy greenery on top of it, and it's kind of possibly like that clay you might get in a cave, where it's in the water and you pick it up and it's like the sludge, and it's just that kind of smell to it. Strange. So, in a good way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back in 4 hours and see how Alma's doing. But I'm really excited by this one, so I'm curious to see where it morphs, because it just keeps changing. So we'll see where it is at 4 hours. Okay, so it has been a total of 5 hours, and I can still smell it, which kind of surprises me, because I don't always have the best luck with zoologists lasting too long. They do tend to dissipate a little bit quicker on me, but this one definitely is staying here. You know, it's interesting. The ones that last the longest tend to be like bee or T-Rex or musk, deer. I have really good luck with those. And a few others, sacred scarab, camel, lasted enough, but they all have like really solid notes, in that very strong notes is the way that I would put it. These aren't necessarily the gentlest scents of the group. They really pack a punch. With this one, it never really leaves this area because the notes are very gentle themselves. So the other ones are more powerful with the smokiness, the incense. This is not like that. So I'm really surprised that it lasted this well, because something like seahorse I found, or dragonfly, cow, stuff like that did not last nearly as long as this one, and it's still going strong. So the notes that I get even when I'm moving around are a very grassy kind of note at this point. I get like a sharp grass smell mixed with algae. And so I was thinking about this, and I think what that scent is the sandalwood, which for me, sandalwood usually comes a little bit more creamy scent. It's a sweeter, creamy, kind of woodsy scent. But I think this mixed with the algae and the other notes is creating this sharp kind of woodsy, grassy scent. Well, it was woodsy at first, now it's almost grassy. So I think that is what's causing that, at least on my chemistry. But let's smell it here on the wrist. It's so strange, because here it's that spicy, grassy scent. So I'm getting this green, spicy scent, a little bit of the algae, and cedar almost. Getting a little bit of almost like cedar with amber. So strange, because none of those notes are in there but the algae and the amber. And so that's what's really odd about this one. So let's try it on the sleeve. So on the sleeve, I'm getting that spicy, grassy note as well, and more of the amber and the sandalwood. It's very strange. It's a very earthy scent, but when I smell it this way, though I'm getting that spicy green, there's always that underlying element of a dirtiness, but not like, I hate to clarify it this way, not like a body odor, like dirtiness. It's a nature dirtiness, which, you know, in itself is kind of nature's, it is, you know, whether we like it or not, it is. It's a natural scent. So with this, it's the grassy though, with a little bit of dirt, like, but it doesn't smell like earth. And I think that's the limestone and the cave cord type thing, where again, it's like putting your hands into sludge and it drips down. Like, it's not clay, but it's the sludge from the earth. And that's what this is reminding me of, with spicy green undertone with that algae, and then a little hint of the sweetness, which is the amber. This is so confusing. I really thought it would be more difficult to wear than it is on my chemistry, but even on the clothing, for me, it just stays a really spicy, grassy note with a little bit of algae and I guess the limestone and the cave accord of the dirty sludge. I really like this one a lot, which surprises me because I don't normally like earthy scents with this. Again, I would wear this sometimes, but I would layer it with, on this channel, we layer everything with vanilla. Yes, I would layer the heck out of this with vanilla. I would. If I would wear it its natural state as well, but if I wanted to add a little bit of more of a spring or, summer scent to it to make it a little bit more floaty, which isn't to say it's heavy. It is not a heavy scent at all. It's always extremely light, very light and in your bubble. It never leaves that. But I think if I wanted something a little bit more accessible, because this isn't necessarily as accessible as other scents, which doesn't mean, like I said, it's not unwearable. It's just like, see how some people would go, this isn't. It has a unique scent to it. I think the way that I would just add vanilla to it. I think this would be a really great layering scent. You can put other things on top of it to make it what you want. And that's what makes it actually really cool. It's like in its own, it's really earthy and fantastic. But if you put vanilla or something else on top of this, another floral or something that matches this a little bit, even like Lang Lang, I could see myself doing, it would just add, it would almost turn into like a flower garden that's been like tilled. Do I think it'll do well in the line? I don't know. I think this will kind of become a cult classic a little bit, but I don't think that this one will necessarily be flying off the shelves. People may buy it when it's first released because of the interest or they're collectors, but is this one that somebody's going to repeatedly buy? Probably not. I don't think this would be anyone's signature scent, but I would love it if somebody corrects me if I'm wrong, because it's really great. But it's one of those ones you pull out every once in a while and savor it for years. Rather than something like Nightingale perhaps, or Hummingbird that's a little bit more accessible, or, Harvest Mouse or Chipmunk. Those are a little bit more accessible to the masses. This one is not going to be for the masses. This is going to be for somebody who really likes earthy, green, artistic scents. This is very much an artistic piece. I think Zoologist has gone back to its roots. I think this is in the same vein as the original Bat. And I didn't smell that one, but from what I've read, I think this is more of that, where it's more experimental when it was first coming out, the company. And I'm very interested to see what they do, because I like this one. I think out of the more artsy experimental pieces, that this one is probably the most wearable. And it's such a cute little creature. I love that little guy. They're a fascinating creature if you haven't read up on them. They've read that they can live up to 100 years, and if there's not enough food in their little cave, these little guys can go 10 years without eating and still survive. 10 years! My goodness. Yes, so that's a little interesting little creature. I like the Alm. They're pretty cool. I'd heard of them and I knew what they kind of were, but they're crazy little creatures. And the little blind guys going around eating things, yum, 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 little tiny things. They get to about a foot. Translucent. They used to call them dragons, little baby dragons, because they're so cool. So I'm glad to see a creature that a lot of people don't know about coming to the forefront and getting its day to shine, even though it probably wouldn't do well in the sunshine. But it's still in its own way getting its day to shine. And I think this is a really good piece. I will say that as far as longevity and sillage, again, it never leaves this bubble. But that being said, I really do think that it lasts quite nicely. I do. It performs better than I thought it would because the notes were so light, but it's still going strong and it's 5 hours. So I think if performance was an issue for you in the past with Zoologist, this one is going to do you. It's really good and it's still going strong at the 5 hour mark. But again, it's never really that offensive leaving this area. So there you go. If other people may think it is because it's artsy, but it's about what you like. Just don't blow out your coworkers with a strong perfume. Every scent in this collection is unisex. But I do feel that some may think that this leans a tad bit more masculine in its presentation. That being said, I would buy a full bottle of this. I would buy a full bottle of this, and it is now on my list because I like it a lot. I'm really surprised. This is the complete opposite of what I like in my collection, and that's why I want a bottle of this, is because it's something that I don't own, and I could use it for the rest of my life because I'm probably not going to go through it that quickly, and it'll be a very special place in my perfume collection. I love it. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would I give Alm? I think I would give this 8.5. Yes, I would. I'm so surprised to hear that myself, though at times it was confusing and it morphed a lot. Usually the ones that morph the most are the ones that have like 20 or 19 plus notes. This one morphed a lot. That being said, I liked what it morphed to, and I think it's really special. I do. I think this one's probably one of the most intriguing of the collection, for good or for bad. But yeah, I give it a solid 8.5, and I think it's the perfect art piece for Zoologist, and I'm excited to see what's coming out in 2026, if this is the direction they're heading, because there's going to be some strange pieces, and I am excited. So yeah, that is all. I know, this is probably one of the longer reviews, but I really do think that this one is intriguing, and there's something extremely addicting about this one. I can't even explain it. I kept smelling myself. There's something so addictive about it. So part of me almost wants to give it a 9, but I'm going to sit on that. I'll leave it as an 8.5 because it's just fantastic in my opinion, but very polarizing. So with that, have a fabulous day, my friends. Bye.